Aliens in the Bible. Normally when people with camo shirts talk about aliens, it doesn't go well. But today, I think I'm going to change your mind. Today, I'm going to really prove it to you. I think that there's a couple things that you read in the Bible and you go, wait a second, that sounds a little bit like aliens. Well, let's find out. Specifically, we're looking at the Hebrew Bible, okay? This is the books after the books of Deuteronomy. Again, after the Pentateuch, as it's known, all the way up through the Old Testament, up until the New Testament, which again, the Jews, not yet. They haven't accepted the New Testament yet. That the Jews don't accept, okay? Hebrew Bible, not the first 5 books, everything up until the New Testament. When most people think of ancient religious texts, they imagine stories probably of spiritual wisdom, commandments, battles, circumcision, maybe. That's what I think about. But check this. There's actually some crazy, insane passages that make you go, it's a little interesting. Maybe there are aliens. Maybe there's fucking aliens out there. Welcome back to Religion Camp. This is the channel where I dive into the most fascinating and interesting stories of religions. Not only the right one, not only Christianity, but all the religions. Everything. Judaism, Islam, Hinduism. And today, like I said, we're going through the Hebrew Bible. Let's just start off with a classic. This is what's known as Ezekiel's wheel. Is this a biblical UFO? Let's find out. Ezekiel 1, 4 through 5 says this: As I looked, behold, a stormy wind came out of the north, and a great cloud with brightness around it, and fire flashing forth continually, and in the midst of the fire, as it were, gleaming metal. And from the midst of it came the likeness of 4 living creatures. Ezekiel is describing what sounds like a glowing, fiery object coming out of the sky. He also describes 4 living creatures that appeared from this cloud. Each one had 4 faces, one of a man, one of a lion, one of an ox, and one of an eagle. They each had 4 wings, and their legs were straight with feet that looked like those of a calf. Sounds delicious. They moved in unison, and their wings made a sound like the noise of great waters, or like the voice of the Almighty. Besides each of these creatures was a wheel intersecting a wheel. What is that? Is this a riddle? That's what I love about the Bible. You read something, you're like, are they doing riddles right now? A wheel intersecting a wheel that sparkled like chrysolite. I don't know what chrysolite is. I think that's something you mix with water to like make a drink. The wheels moved in any direction without turning, and they were covered in what appeared to be eyes all around. Now, if you're picturing a multi-directional flying aircraft with mechanical arms or extensions, you're not alone. That's kind of what I'm reading this. I'm reading this right now. And I remember the first time I read this, I was 9 years old. I said, Mom, what the hell are they talking about? And she said, don't question the Lord. Don't sit down. That's what she said. Never brought it up again. But I don't have my mom living in my house anymore, so I can ask these questions. Is this an aircraft? It seems weird to me. Eyes on all sides? Is that portholes? Is that like a window? Many people see this as a possible description of some type of advanced spacecraft. It's not crazy. The wheels within wheels sound a lot like some type of gyroscopic mechanism, maybe like a wheel and then inside of it another wheel, and they're moving, in sort of a convex, sort of like a concentric sort of scenario. The eyes on the wheels could be lights or cameras or something. Even more intriguing is the fact that Ezekiel describes how the whole structure moved. The wheels would lift off the ground, and the creatures went wherever the spirit would go. It's almost as if Ezekiel was witnessing anti-gravity. Look, I know I'm in a camo shirt. I know I'm in a tent, and I know I'm like, that's an alien. I know it sounds crazy, but it's in the Bible, bro. Like, why would the Bible's not? The Bible's true. That's the word of God. What about this guy, NASA engineer Josef Blumrich? He worked on the Apollo program, and he initially set out to debunk this idea. He had read the passage and was like, oh, that's kind of weird. But after analyzing the text, this guy, Mr. Blumrich, which is just a fabulous name, he ended up becoming convinced that Ezekiel was in fact describing a flying machine. This is a guy that worked on the Apollo program. In his book, The Spaceships of Ezekiel, Blumrich meticulously reconstructed what he believed the craft might have looked like. He even patented a design for a omnidirectional wheel based on Ezekiel's description. I feel like I sound like Tucker Carlson right now. I don't mean for that. When I was a boy, my mom would make me listen to conservative radio. I didn't want to. I was strapped in the car seat. She would go into Home Depot, and I just spent hours and hours and hours listening to like Rush Limbaugh and Hannity. So if it comes out, I want you to know that's where it came from. It's not because that's who I am, okay? It just got fucking drilled in here. Anyway, the detail that Ezekiel provides that is the most interesting when you consider that he was trying to describe this experience using a limited vocabulary and the concepts of his time. Again, he's confined by living, in this period before, in BC. For example, what he calls wings might have actually been like a landing gear or a stabilizer, and the fire flashing forth might have actually been exhaust from the craft's propulsion system. Again, we have modern language to understand these things. So, was Ezekiel describing an encounter with an extraterrestrial craft? It's hard to say. I don't know. But what's clear is that he witnessed something truly extraordinary. Maybe it's God, maybe it's aliens, maybe it's demons. Or maybe aliens, demons, they're all the same thing.